market for used pickup trucks, and that's a story that Phil LeBeau.
You've been told America's trucks are untouchable, but right now, dealers can't get rid of them. From Ford to Nissan, pickups once considered unstoppable icons are sitting unsold.
We had a buyer coming in all the way from Spokane, Washington, in order to buy a Chevy Silverado.
Bleeding dealerships dry, ads still shout strength, but behind the scenes, desperation grows. And if you rely on these trucks, the fallout could hit your wallet next. Which once great models are now failures? How did automakers let it reach this point? And what happens to buyers caught in the middle? By the end, you'll realize this collapse doesn't just threaten dealers. It threatens drivers everywhere. Ford Ranger? When you hear the name Ford Ranger, the first thing that might come to mind is nostalgia. This truck was once a familiar sight on American highways and suburban driveways during the 1980s and 1990s. Parents drove them, teenagers learned to handle a clutch in them, and small businesses kept fleets of them for years. After being discontinued in the United States for a long stretch, the Ranger finally made its official return in 2019, carrying the heavy expectation of recapturing its former glory. Yet what looked like a triumphant comeback has instead turned into an uphill struggle. The Ranger today sits in an awkward middle ground. It is technically a mid-size pickup, smaller than the Ford F-150, but the sticker price is uncomfortably close to that of its bigger brother. A base Ranger often starts around $34,160, while the entry-level Ford F-150 begins at approximately $36,770. That means for only $2,610 more, a buyer can step up into America's best-selling truck with greater towing, hauling, and bragging rights. For most customers doing the math in the showroom, the larger F-150 wins almost every time, leaving the Ranger stranded on dealer lots. What makes this particularly painful for dealers is that they continue paying carrying costs month after month, while potential buyers glance at the Ranger, ask a few questions, and then walk straight toward the larger models. Sales staff report that interest starts high when customers hear the name, but enthusiasm fades quickly once price comparisons are laid out side by side. In essence, the Ranger suffers from its own family competition. Performance-wise, the modern Ranger is not a bad machine at all. It carries a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that produces more than enough horsepower for daily driving, and it offers decent fuel economy compared with full-size trucks. It also includes the modern conveniences that drivers expect today, such as advanced safety systems and touchscreen infotainment. The issue is not capability. It is value perception. Buyers feel shortchanged when they realize how close it sits to the larger and more prestigious F-150. So while the Ford Ranger had the potential to reignite its legendary name, it now represents a cautionary tale about positioning within a brand's own lineup. And as the Ranger struggles to stand out, another mid-size pickup from General Motors is facing its own storm of problems, proving that even bold redesigns can misfire. Chevrolet Colorado. Among mid-size trucks currently offered in the United States, few names carry as much recognition as the Chevrolet Colorado. When General Motors first launched this model in the early 2000s, it was positioned as a versatile and approachable pickup that could bridge the gap between compact affordability and full-size muscle. Over the years, it became known as a practical workhorse for tradespeople, adventurous families, and anyone who wanted utility without the bulk of a Ford F-150 or a Chevrolet Silverado. However, despite its reputation and a very recent redesign, the Chevrolet Colorado has landed itself in a difficult position that leaves many of these trucks sitting quietly on dealer lots. The most recent generation of the Colorado was introduced for the model year 2023, with an all-new design. On paper, the updates looked promising. Buyers were offered a turbocharged 2.7-liter engine capable of producing 310 horsepower in top trims, advanced suspension systems in off-road focused versions, and stylish, modern interiors that finally moved beyond the dated cabins of older models. At first glance, it seemed like the Colorado could win the mid-size pickup crown, yet the reality turned out much different once customers arrived at dealerships and started comparing prices. Where older Colorados once provided strong value at lower entry points, the newest versions abandoned the traditional base model in favor of higher-priced configurations. Entry-level stickers now start around $38,395, and well-equipped ZR2 Bison trims can crest $60,000 when options are added. That places the mid-size Colorado uncomfortably close to larger full-size pickups that deliver more towing capacity, more interior space, and greater prestige. Many buyers simply choose to stretch their budget slightly for a Chevrolet Silverado or even cross-shop the Ford F-150. The result is fewer customers driving away in a Colorado, despite its genuine strengths. Dealers themselves have voiced frustration. Some report that customers still admire the styling, sit in the seats, and take test drives, but the excitement fades when final numbers are presented. Service bulletins, such as those issued for roof denting concerns during automatic car washes, further undermine confidence. What could have been a sales leader has turned into a cautionary example of pricing strategy gone wrong. Thus, the Chevrolet Colorado is proof that even a technically impressive redesign cannot rescue a truck when its value proposition feels misaligned with consumer expectations. And as the Colorado wrestles with this identity crisis, another manufacturer's mid-size pickup, the Nissan Frontier, illustrates just how much timing and brand perception can affect success or failure. Nissan Frontier. For decades, the Nissan Frontier held the role of an underdog in the American mid-size truck segment, and it once carried a loyal following among buyers who valued straightforward durability over flashy innovation. Originally introduced in the late 1990s as a replacement for the Nissan hardbody, the Frontier built a reputation as a rugged yet affordable pickup that could haul tools during the week and head out on camping trips during the weekend. However, what once was a steady performer in its category has slowly become a cautionary example of what happens when a manufacturer allows a model to stagnate for too long before finally attempting a revival. The Frontier spent an unusually long stretch without a full redesign, essentially soldiering on with the same basic platform for nearly 2 decades. By the time Nissan finally unveiled a fully updated Frontier for the model year 2022, competitors had already surged far ahead. Toyota's Tacoma had built a legendary reputation for bulletproof reliability. Ford had reintroduced the Ranger to American buyers, and General Motors had invested heavily in its Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon. When the new Frontier did arrive, it looked modern and came equipped with a 3.8-liter V6 engine producing over 300 horsepower, a significant upgrade compared with its aging predecessor. On paper, the ingredients for success were clearly present, yet sales figures told a different story. Instead of drawing large crowds of eager buyers, the new Frontier sat quietly on lots, while shoppers gravitated toward better-known rivals. Dealership staff reported that customers often walked in, asking specifically for Toyota Tacomas or Chevrolet Colorados, with the Frontier barely earning a glance. Brand perception played a massive role. Years of neglect had damaged Nissan's reputation in the truck world, and the simultaneous struggles of the larger Nissan Titan further eroded consumer confidence. Even with competitive pricing and respectable capability, the Frontier struggled to shake the image of being an afterthought. From a practical perspective, the Frontier actually offers plenty: modern technology, solid towing capacity, and interior comfort that far outshines the outdated models it replaced. Unfortunately, perception often outweighs reality in the automotive marketplace. Buyers associate Nissan with small cars and crossovers rather than trucks, and without a breakthrough hook, the Frontier cannot escape the shadow of its rivals. The fate of the Nissan Frontier highlights the importance of timing and reputation. A strong product means little if it arrives too late and carries too much baggage from the past. And while Nissan tries to convince buyers that the Frontier deserves consideration, another full-size effort from the same brand, the Nissan Titan, demonstrates just how punishing the truck market can be when expectations are not met. Nissan Titan. Across the wide landscape of American pickup trucks, the Nissan Titan stands as one of the most ambitious gambles that never truly paid off. When Nissan first introduced the Titan in the early 2000s, the company hoped to break into a segment long dominated by Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis with its Ram lineup. At the time, the idea seemed bold. Offer a Japanese-branded full-size truck with the power, toughness, and size to compete directly against America's favorites. For a brief moment, optimism was high. But 2 decades later, the Titan has become a symbol of missed opportunity, and dealers are struggling to move unsold units that continue to pile up on lots. The Titan was engineered with specifications designed to appeal directly to truck loyalists. Its 5.6-liter V8 engine produced an impressive 400 horsepower, allowing for towing figures exceeding 9,300 pounds. It came with one of the most generous warranties in the entire truck market, boasting coverage for 5 years or 100,000 miles. On paper, those numbers put the Titan right in line with the domestic competition. Yet the truck never managed to gain meaningful market share. Buyers who were deeply committed to Ford's F-150, Chevrolet's Silverado, or Ram's pickups rarely considered switching, no matter how competitive the Titan appeared in brochures. By the mid-2010s, sales numbers were slipping so badly that many dealers questioned why Nissan continued building the truck at all. Reports from dealerships reveal that some Titans sit for more than 6 months unsold, costing owners over $300 per month in floor plan financing for each vehicle. Multiply that carrying cost across dozens or even hundreds of trucks, and the financial strain becomes unbearable. In some cases, managers admit that they would rather give the trucks away at steep discounts than continue bleeding money. The final blow came with the announcement that production of the Titan would officially end in the summer of 2024. That decision confirmed what the market had been signaling for years. The Titan never resonated with the American buyer base. While the truck itself is mechanically sound and capable, brand perception proved impossible to overcome. For many shoppers, Nissan simply does not represent trucks in the way Ford or Toyota does. The story of the Nissan Titan underscores how even billions of dollars in investment and decades of persistence cannot force loyalty in a market built on tradition. And as the Titan bows out, another unconventional mid-size competitor, the Honda Ridgeline, shows how different design philosophies can also struggle to win over skeptical buyers. Before we dive deeper, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss the stories dealers don't want you to hear. Hit the notification bell because the next trucks on this list will shock you even more, and knowing the truth could save you thousands on your next purchase. Honda Ridgeline. Among the many trucks competing for attention in the American marketplace, the Honda Ridgeline occupies one of the strangest and most polarizing positions. First launched in the mid-2000s, it was never intended to follow the traditional formula of body-on-frame toughness. Instead, Honda built it on a unibody platform, the same architectural approach used for sport utility vehicles and passenger cars. That decision created a pickup that drives more like a comfortable crossover than a rough-riding workhorse, a design choice that immediately set the Ridgeline apart, while also ensuring that many buyers dismissed it as not being a real truck. Through its various generations, the Ridgeline has consistently tried to offer features that emphasize everyday usability over sheer brute force. Owners praise the dual-action tailgate that can swing open or drop down, the in-bed trunk that provides secure and hidden storage, and the car-like ride quality that makes long commutes much less fatiguing than what is experienced in rivals. Under the hood, it carries a 3.5-liter V6 engine delivering respectable horsepower and fuel economy, paired with Honda's reputation for reliability. On paper, it looks like a logical choice for someone who wants utility without giving up comfort. Yet despite these strengths, the Ridgeline has continually struggled to gain the respect of traditional truck buyers. Sales numbers rarely come close to the heavyweights of the segment, such as the Toyota Tacoma or the Ford F-150. Dealers frequently report unsold Ridgeline sitting for months, even as incentives and discounts are added to entice shoppers. The issue lies in perception. American truck culture is deeply tied to the image of rugged durability, body-on-frame construction, and raw towing capacity. By not fitting that mold, the Ridgeline gets trapped in a marketing no-man's land, too truck-like for car buyers, and not truck enough for the loyalists. For Honda enthusiasts, the Ridgeline represents clever engineering and sensible practicality. For truck purists, it feels like a compromise. This cultural divide explains why dealers often find themselves pleading for buyers to consider it, highlighting comfort and versatility, while customers quietly gravitate toward more traditional options. The story of the Honda Ridgeline illustrates how innovation can sometimes backfire when it challenges entrenched expectations. And while this unconventional truck continues to search for its audience, another experiment from Jeep, the Gladiator, shows how even combining an iconic off-road legend with pickup utility can still leave dealers with rows of unsold inventory. Jeep Gladiator. In the world of American pickups, few introductions stirred as much early excitement as the Jeep Gladiator. When it was unveiled in the late 2010s, the concept sounded like a guaranteed success. Imagine taking the legendary Jeep Wrangler, beloved for its off-road credibility and removable roof, and attaching a functional pickup bed to it. On paper, it promised the best of both worlds. A a rugged off-road warrior with added utility. For enthusiasts, the Gladiator looked like the perfect dream vehicle, one that could crawl over boulders on Saturday and haul gear for a home project on Sunday. But reality soon delivered a very different story. The Jeep Gladiator launched with hot demand and dealer markups exceeding $10,000. But just a few years later, sales have fallen nearly 50% as rows of unsold trucks sit on lots. Despite off-road credibility with solid axles, locking differentials, and removable doors, buyers complain of bouncy rides, vague steering, and loud cabins, while prices starting above $38,000 and climbing past $55,000 make it an expensive niche toy rather than a practical daily driver. Dealers now attempt to emphasize its unique features, such as the ability to strip off the roof for an open-air driving experience. But many shoppers compare it directly to more practical mid-size pickups like the Toyota Tacoma or the Chevrolet Colorado. Against those rivals, the Gladiator struggles to justify its price, especially when resale values and reliability scores enter the discussion. The trajectory of the Jeep Gladiator demonstrates that brand heritage and novelty alone cannot sustain long-term success. It remains a fantastic off-road machine, but in a marketplace where most buyers demand all-around capability, its weaknesses are too glaring. And while Jeep battles to find a stable audience for the Gladiator, another manufacturer's gamble, the massive and futuristic GMC Hummer EV pickup, shows how even a truck with jaw-dropping specifications can end up gathering dust in dealer showrooms. GMC Hummer EV pickup. Few vehicles in recent memory have arrived with the same level of spectacle as the GMC Hummer electric vehicle pickup. When General Motors revived the Hummer nameplate, it tapped into nostalgia for the hulking sport utility vehicles of the early 2000s while promising a futuristic transformation into an all-electric powerhouse. The announcement was accompanied by cinematic advertising campaigns, celebrity endorsements, and bold claims of capability that sounded almost too good to be true. With a starting price cresting $110,000 and a headline-grabbing figure of 1,000 horsepower, the Hummer electric vehicle pickup seemed engineered to dominate attention. Yet despite the headlines, the reality for dealers today is sobering. Many of these six-figure trucks are sitting unsold, turning what was once billed as a technological revolution into a financial headache. The GMC Hummer electric vehicle pickup weighs over 9,000 pounds, creating problems like premature tire wear, garage fit issues, and even driveway damage, while its high energy use undermines environmental claims. Despite flashy features such as crab walk steering, only a few thousand units have sold, far below General Motors' expectations, as most shoppers admire it in showrooms but reject the massive size, impracticality, and six-figure price tag when it comes time to buy. This mismatch between hype and real-world usability leaves the Hummer electric vehicle pickup stranded as more of a showroom attraction than a practical purchase. Its failure demonstrates that even deep corporate pockets and powerful branding cannot guarantee market acceptance when a product does not align with everyday needs. As the Hummer struggles to gain traction, the electric revolution continues to generate its own set of high-profile disappointments. The next entry on this list highlights perhaps the most polarizing truck of the modern era, a stainless steel wedge from Tesla that once promised to reshape the industry, but now faces its own wave of recalls and skepticism. Rivian R1T. In recent years, few names have generated as much excitement in the electric truck conversation as the Rivian R1T. When Rivian first unveiled its pickup in the year 2018, the startup was celebrated as a fresh competitor that might finally rival Tesla, Ford, and General Motors in the electric revolution. Backed by billions of dollars in investment from companies such as Amazon and Ford, Rivian promised an all-electric pickup that could combine off-road toughness with cutting-edge technology. The idea was simple yet powerful, a lifestyle truck capable of handling rugged adventures, city commutes, and family road trips, all without a drop of gasoline. With sleek styling, clever features like a gear tunnel, and early test drives showing impressive acceleration, the R1T seemed destined to change the market forever. Rivian's R1T debuted with dazzling promises of 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 3 seconds, towing up to 11,000 pounds, 400 miles of range, and innovative features like a camp kitchen, earning tens of thousands of pre-orders. Yet by late 2021, production delays, supply chain shortages, and rising prices above $70,000 left thousands unsold by mid-2024, while quality issues and limited service centers pushed many buyers to abandon their reservations. Dealers never existed in Rivian's direct sales model, but the company itself struggled with unsold inventory, slowing deliveries, and growing skepticism from investors. The stock price, once soaring after a historic initial public offering, plummeted as financial losses mounted. What was meant to be the future of American electric pickups risked becoming another cautionary tale of overambition. The saga of the Rivian R1T proves that even when a company successfully builds and delivers an innovative truck, the challenges of scaling production, maintaining quality, and sustaining demand can derail momentum. And as Rivian continues fighting for survival, the next entry in this list, the Lordstown Endurance, illustrates what happens when a startup cannot even reach the scale Rivian achieved, collapsing after building only a handful of units. If this countdown opened your eyes, don't just scroll away. Subscribe right now and join a community that spots these hidden automotive truths first. Drop a comment with the truck you'd still consider buying and share this video, because your friends deserve to know what's really happening too. Lordstown Endurance. The Lordstown Endurance stands as one of the clearest examples of how ambition in the electric vehicle world can collapse under the weight of financial reality. Introduced with great fanfare in the late 2010s, the Endurance was marketed as the first all-electric pickup truck specifically designed for commercial fleets. The company behind it, Lordstown Motors, promised to revolutionize the work truck segment by offering durability, lower maintenance costs, and cutting-edge technology. Headlines proclaimed that this newcomer from Ohio might seriously challenge the dominance of Detroit's Big Three and even steal thunder from Tesla. Yet instead of rewriting history, the Endurance quickly became a sobering lesson in the risks of overpromising. At its core, the Lordstown Endurance used a novel in-hub motor system, promising superior traction, impressive acceleration, and competitive range, with tens of thousands of pre-orders and investor backing that even took the company public in 2020. Yet engineering complexities, ballooning costs, and real-world flaws stalled production, and by late 2023, only 31 trucks were built before bankruptcy, leaving investors burned and delivered units as unsupported curiosities. For dealers and buyers alike, the Endurance represented dashed hopes. What was supposed to be a bold leap into the future of electric work trucks ended in one of the most abrupt collapses in modern automotive history. And as dramatic as that failure was, the #1 spot on this list belongs to another electric startup, a company that never even managed to deliver a single truck before its entire program was canceled outright. Nikola Badger. At the top of this list sits a truck that promised to shake the foundations of the industry, yet never made it beyond the dream stage, the Nikola Badger. When the concept was announced in the year 2020, it immediately captured headlines because it blended both hydrogen fuel cell and battery electric technology into one ambitious pickup design. The company, Nikola Motors, claimed that the Badger would deliver class-leading range, jaw-dropping towing ability, and the kind of futuristic styling that could make even seasoned truck buyers stop and stare. Reservations opened with much fanfare, and enthusiasts imagined a future where a revolutionary American-made electric truck would rival the most established players. However, as with so many ambitious ideas, the reality was far different. The Nikola Badger was promoted with astonishing specifications, boasting up to 600 miles of combined hydrogen and battery range, a 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint in under 3 seconds, towing above 8,000 pounds, and a projected base price near $60,000. Buyers rushed to place deposits, but by late 2020 and into 2021, investigations revealed staged demonstrations. Investor confidence collapsed, funding disappeared, and the program was canceled, leaving only refunded pre-orders and promotional images of broken dreams. The story of the Nikola Badger is a reminder that in the automotive world, vision and publicity are never enough. Building a truck requires engineering credibility, large-scale manufacturing, dependable supply chains, and the ability to deliver consistently. Without those elements, even the most exciting announcements collapse under scrutiny. And with the Badger gone, the American truck market turned its attention to other electric startups, such as Rivian, whose R1T shows just how difficult survival can be, even after a product actually makes it onto the road. Before you click away, remember, knowledge is leverage. Subscribe now, share this countdown, and stay ahead. The trucks may be failing, but your smartest move starts right here today.